You've got some difficult days ahead. But it really doesn't matter with me now, because I've been to the mountaintop. I don't mind. Like anybody, I would like to live a long life. Longevity has its place. But I'm not concerned about that now. I just want to do God's will. And He's allowed me to go up to the mountain. And I've looked over and I've seen the promised land. I may not get there with you, but I want you to know tonight that we as a people will get to the promised land. So I'm happy tonight. I'm not worried about anything. I'm not fearing any man. Mine eyes have seen the glory of the coming of the Lord.
One day, when the glory comes, it will be ours. It will be ours. Oh, one day, when the war is won, we will be sure. We will be sure. Glory, 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 oh, glory, glory. Now the war is not over, victory isn't won, but we'll fight on to the finish. When it is all done, we'll cry glory.
Hametzar karatiya anani v'merchavya min hametzar karatiya anani v'merchavya odecha ותהי לי ישועה עודך כי עניתני ותהי לי ישועה Answer me, Aneni, Aneni, Aneni. Answer me, Aneni, Aneni, Aneni. Answer me, Aneni, Aneni, Aneni. I call out to you from a narrow place. Your answer came to me from a wide open space. My heart cried out for you wherever you are. Your hand reached out to me, min hametzar. Aneni, Aneni, Aneni. Answer me, 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 Aneni, Aneni, Aneni. Min hametzar. Shiru l'Adonai, shir chadash. Shiru l'Adonai, kol haaretz. Shiru l'Adonai, baruch hu shemo. Basru miyom liyom Yeshuat.
Shabbat Shalom, everybody. Bezimrat Yah, Vayehili Lishua, Ozi, Bezimrat Yah, Vayehili Lishua, Ozi. Zimrat Yah, Vayehili Lishua, Hozi, Bezimrat Yah, Vayehili Lishua, Hozi, Bezimrat Yah, Vayehili Lishua, Ozi, Bezimrat Yah, Vayehili Lishua.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
We are speaking to you from the pavilion here at Central Synagogue on 55th Street and Lexington Avenue in the heart of Manhattan. So happy to be here with all of you, joining from all over, including the Freen family, who is joining us because their beautiful son, Zachary, will help us lead this service as our first bar mitzvah returning to the sanctuary after we've had to have a number of b'nai mitzvah over Zoom. And we're so thrilled for the Freens, and we're thrilled for all of us to be here on Shabbat. It's a beautiful morning here in Manhattan, and I hope wherever you're live streaming from. We know Zachary's family from Belgium's live streaming and from England, and I saw on our Facebook feed we have people from New England with us and from Miami and from all over who are just coming together to spend Shabbat morning with each other. If you would like to send a Shabbat Shalom greeting to a friend through a text or through our Facebook stream, we encourage you to do that. I encourage you to settle in as we pray together. If you want to follow along in our prayer book, you can follow it and find it at centralsynagogue.org on our live streaming page. We're going to continue now with singing, welcoming, and morning prayers to get us up and moving. It sounds like Cantor sounds like I need a little chance to get up and moving this morning.
I could use the warming up too. So let's start with this prayer for our souls. Elohai, Neshama, and you can find the words on page 78. Elohai, Elohai, Neshama, Shenatata bi Tehorahi. Elohai, 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 Neshama, Shenatata bi Tehorahi. Ata berata, ata yitzarta, ata nefachta bi, ve'ata meshabera, meshabra bekirbi. Elohai, Elohai, Neshama, Shenatata bi Tehorahi. We're going to continue now with our call to worship Baruch Hu. That's on page 108, and we'll ask you to rise. Baruch Hu et Adonai המבורך ברוך אדוני המבורך המבורך לעולם ועד המבורך המבורך לעולם ועד.
Every morning is a chance to appreciate being alive, waking up after hopefully a good night's sleep. And every morning service has a prayer related to this renewal, this creation that we are a part of. I read a passage related to creation on the top of page 111. In the beginning, even then, a new light was sown for the righteous, a promise that your light would become the catalyst, first for order and then for hope, author of language and light. Help us use these words as you have, to cast light into dark waters and draw out justice and truth.
Baruch atah Adonai
Baruch Shemo.
הבוחר בעמו ישראל באהבה. שמע ישראל אדוני אלוהינו אדוני אחד. ברוך שכבוד מלכותו לעולם ועד. ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך. והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם לאות על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם. On page 122, our song of freedom, Michamocha. Michamocha ba'elim Adonai, Michamocha nehedar b'kodesh, Nora tehilloto sefer lev, Nora tehilloto sefer lev. Shira chadasha shibchu yehulim, לשמחה צבת הים, יחד כולם הודו והמליכו ואמרו, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד. La 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 la
entering the section of service known as the Tefillah. It's a section where we're at the end able to add our own additional prayers silently. And whatever they are, this morning I'll be a little more transparent. I'm so grateful that we're able to have the service here safely with all different moving pieces. We've put so much time, my colleagues and I, into this service, and to have our musicians with us, to have Steve Weingord back here in the sanctuary helping us prepare, to have Jesse Lauder and his team, and so many other people at the synagogue to help us be here today, to have Cantor Mutlu singing so beautifully and helping us welcome in Shabbat in the sanctuary, with Zachary helping us as well as Bar Mitzvah. I'm feeling a tremendous amount of gratitude. So whatever your prayers are, we're going to begin the Tefillah prayer with the opening line on page 124, and then we'll invite us to pray the prayers that are in the prayer book, and also to pray the prayers that are within our own heart. We rise for Tefillah.
Adonai sefatai tiftach ufi agi tehilatecha. Adonai, open my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. So imrefi begion libi lefanecha Adonai tzuri Adonai tzuri Goali, Yehu leratzo, Imrefi, Begion libi lefanecha. Adonai tzuri, Adonai tzuri, begoali,
Here at Central Synagogue, we ask our students to study and prepare and help us lead Shabbat morning service as they become Bar Mitzvah. And we're so pleased now to invite Zachary and his family to the Bima. And we'll ask Zachary to introduce the Torah section of this service, which you're about to begin. So.
trends forth from Zion. Adonai's teaching flow from Jerusalem. The school has nurtured our people from Sinai to today. It teaches us love and justice, hope and peace.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad, Echad Eloheinu, Gadol Adonenu, Kadosh Shemo. Gadlu Adonai iti, Uneromema Shemo Yachdav.
Zachary, your voice sounds so good. We hear you loud and clear, and we're going to hear more from you throughout the Torah service. But now I'd like to invite your parents and your sisters to say a few words to you on this day which you become bar mitzvah.
First, we'd like to thank everyone for coming today and sharing in our joy as our son Zachary becomes a bar mitzvah. Zachary, we're so proud of you. It hasn't been the easiest 6 months, but you have persevered through all of it with maturity, understanding, and a good sense of humor. You have transitioned to online learning and the impromptu move to the mountains for 6 months and back to the city in stride. You've even taken this time to achieve some of your long-standing hiking goals, like hiking the Devil's Path in the Catskills and Katahdin and Knife's Edge in Maine, which are no small feats in a lifetime, never mind in a summer. You are a sweet and smart young man, and you can accomplish anything you put your mind to. We couldn't be prouder of you, and we love you very much.
So nice. Zachary, I'm going to encourage you to look right at your family as I speak to you, because I know they want to see you, and I know you want to see them too.
I'm so proud that Zachary has reached this special moment, and he is the best brother I could ever ask for. I'm so proud of Zach that he has made it. I'm so proud of Zach that he has made it to his bar mitzvah. And even though we fight sometimes, at the end of the day, he is such a sweet and caring, and most of all, an amazing big brother.
Zachary, as a symbol of how we pass our Jewish faith from generation to generation, we are giving you this Kaddish cup that my parents gave to me on my bar mitzvah many years ago, and that we have used as part of our Jewish holiday celebration since before you were born. Take a look at it. You can see that it is now engraved with your name and bar mitzvah date, as well as mine. We are so happy about how seriously you have taken this bar mitzvah, both for your hard work for preparing for it and as a symbol of your commitment to becoming a Jewish man. We hope you will make good use of the Kaddish cup.
Thank you.
Zachary, we love you very much.
Thank you, Dad.
We're going to invite you all to hug if you'd like, or to hold each other as the cantor sings a special song at the start of the Torah service.
You're a gift, and you're a blessing. You are history in song. You are hope, and you are healing. You are learning to be strong. L'dor v'dor nagi god lecha. L'dor v'dor we protect this chain. From generation to generation. L'dor v'dor these lips will praise your name.
Zachary, I've already had to get out my supply of tissues as your family has so beautifully spoken to you. And now we'll invite you to continue with the introduction to the Torah portion you're reading today.
My Torah portion is taken from Parshat Nitzavim, from the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 30, verses 11 through 20. For my first Aliyah, I call upon my Aunt Ruth.
Great.
So your aunt is joining us from Belgium through Zoom. We'll make sure she's on the screen. So amazing that she can be with us today. You can go ahead with the first blessing.
Baruch Adonai Hamavorach.
Baruch Adonai Hamarach Leolam Va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Hamavorach Leolam Va'ed. Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu Melech HaOlam Asher B'Habanu Mikol Ha'amim V'Natan Lanu Et Torato. Baruch Atah Adonai Noten HaTorah.
Amen.
Ki hamitzvah hazot asher anohim mitzavecha hayom lo niflahi memacha velo echoka him lo hashamayim him lemor mim yalelanu hashmama vikahecha lanu vishminu ota vena asena ולא מעבר לים הם לאמור מי יבוא לנו אל עבר הים ויקחך לנו ושמינו אותה ונעשנה כי כבוש אליך חלבו מאוד ופיך ובלבבך לעשותו.
Beautiful reading, Zachary. We'll ask your aunt to do the blessing after the First Aliyah.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torah emet v'chayei olam nata betochenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen.
Zachary, can you introduce the second Aliyah, please?
For my second Aliyah, I call upon my dad Paul and my mom Sabrina.
Adonai Hamvarah.
Baruch Adonai Hamarach Leolam Va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Hamvarach Le'olam Va'ed. Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu Melech HaOlam Asher B'Kabanu Mikol Ha'amim V'Natan Lanu Et Torato. Baruch Atah Adonai Noten HaTorah.
Amen.
ונתתי לפניך היום את החיים ואת הטוב ואת המוות ואת חווה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום לקבוע את אדוני אלוהיך ללכת בדרכיו ולשמור מצוותיו וחוקותיו ומשפטיו וחיית ובבית ובברכך אדוני אלוהיך בארץ אשר אתה בה שמה לא ישתם ואם יפנה לבבך ולא תשמע ונהגת והשתחווית לאלוהים אחרים ועבדתם.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torah emet v'chayei olam nata betochenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen. Okay, so wonderful Aliyah. Parents and siblings, you can actually take a seat. It's just going to be Zach up there alone for his third Aliyah while I just say some words to you, Zach, on this incredible occasion of you being called to the Torah. Nothing could stop this moment from you being called up to the Torah. We say that when you turn 13, you're automatically bar mitzvah, but really this coming to the Torah, doing the blessing, learning and teaching us Torah is a demonstration that you are ready and that you take all of this seriously and you take it upon yourself. So we call you to the Torah not by your English name, but by your Hebrew name. And you were named after your grandfather, Peter. So it's very special that we call you up to the Torah at this time, remembering all of those traditions that were passed on to you to make this moment possible. So I call you now for the very first time as a bar mitzvah. Yamod, 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 Habar Mitzvah, Tzuriel ben Shaul v'Zahava. You can do the blessing before.
Baruchu et Adonai Hamvora.
Baruch Adonai Hamvarach leolam va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Hamvora leolam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam. Asher b'chapanu mikol ha'amim. V'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten ha'tova.
Amen.
Amen.
Higati lechem hayom ki avod tovidun lo tavachun yamim el chadama asher ta'ovel et hoyodin levo shama luishtam. Ha'idoti v'achem hayom et chashmaim v'cha'aret ha'chayim v'chamavet na'atati lefanecha Abivecha, Fanecha, Vivecha, Uvekata, Vechayim, Montechayet, Ata Vizavana. Lechava, Et Adonai Lahecha, Lishmoa Vekolo, Udav Kavod, Ki, Hu, Chayecha, Ve'ovech Yemecha, La Sheve, Elcha Adim Ma, Ashev, Nishva Adonai laotecha leBacham liYitzhak uLyaakov
Lateit lahem.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torah emet v'kayei olam nataf b'Eloheinu Baruch atah Adonai noten ha'tova.
Amen.
Zachary, your voice reverberates throughout this synagogue as you so beautifully read from the Torah. We want to now hear some of your reflections on this iconic Torah portion, Nitzavim, your Devar Torah.
My Torah portion is mainly about how Moses communicates with the Jews about their covenant with God. In the passage, Moses tells the Jews to obey and worship God. If they do that, they will get to Israel. But if not, God will stop the Jews from entering Israel and will also give them plagues. When Moses gives the Jews a choice of obeying God or disobeying God, he emphasizes how important this is by saying it is literally a choice of life or death. He says, I call upon heaven and earth to witness against you this day. I have put before you life and death, blessing and curse. Choose life, if you and your offsprings will live. But did he really have to tell them that? Wouldn't everyone choose life over death? With these words, he makes obeying God and living the same thing. Moses also says that the Jews can be forgiven for disobeying God when they apologize and then promise to obey God going forward. And even if they disobey God, their children can be forgiven by apologizing for what their parents did and promising to obey God. This teaches us about God's gentleness and how God lets us have a second chance. Moses uses both the carrot and stick approach with the Jews. When Moses tells the people about obeying God, he uses the carrot approach by letting them go into the Holy Land if they obey God. Moses also tells the Jews that God will not let you go into the Holy Land and will give you plagues if you don't obey God. That's the stick approach. From Moses' point of view, the carrot and stick approach is understandable. The carrot approach is bribery to make people follow and obey God because of what they're getting. The stick approach is a threat. Follow and obey God, and if you don't, you will be severely punished. I think that bribery and threatening people are insufficient in today's world. Bribery takes goodwill and morals away from us. Threat inspires fear, fear leads to anger, anger leads to hatred, and hatred leads to chaos. What I think we need is people to be moved by their own morals and goodwill, and shouldn't need bribes or threats to make them do good things. For me, I try to be motivated by my morals and goodwill. I try to live a life where I could help others without bribery or threats, although I do not always find this easy. All in all, What I learned from my passage is how important the covenant with God is to the Jews and to me. These people I'm going to mention are the reason I've made it this far in life. I could not have made it this far without my sisters. They are sometimes really annoying, but I had some great memories with them, like going hiking and playing soccer. Overall, they're the best sisters I could have ever asked for. Next, I'd like to thank my dad. He is always encouraging me to do things, even when I want to give up. He is the reason I did so many good things in life. I'd also like to thank my mom. She is always there for me, even when things are impossible. She pushes me through hard times like nobody else can. Last of all, I would like to thank all of my family and friends for taking out of that day to cherish this special moment with me. Thank you all.
Thank you, Zachary. Incredible teaching, incredible chanting. I just want to read a couple of comments that have come through our Facebook feed. You'll be able to see these after the service, but I'll just read you a couple from the Massery family and Marlene Bascombe saying they're so proud. Jessica, your friend Jessica, says that you're making her cry. Friends from Mexico have said, well done, and Mazel Tov, and others have said how impressive you are and that they have tears of joy and they're crying and that you have a great voice. And I know the Cantor agree with every single comment that's coming through, and there's so many more of us that are just taking it all in from you, Zachary. We want to ask you to introduce and chant your Haftarah blessing now, please.
Baruch Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher b'chol b'nevim tovim v'retzav v'divrei ana emurim be'emet Baruch Atah Adonai Havacha b'Torah Moshe Avdo, Uv'Israel Amo, Uv'Nvi'echa Emet, V'Tzedek.
Amen.
So, Asis Badonai, Tkonishi, Elohai, Kiho Bishani, Big Deasha, Miosadaka, Yatani, Hechatan, Ikahin, Fair. V'chalam tzedekalecha ki haaretz totzim sima ugana zeroecha tatzmia kein Adonai Elohim yatzmia tzedeka utela neged kol agayim lemon tziyot lo chesh umahani mishalayim lo eshkot ad yetzecha nugas yidka Yeshuata Kalapiri Fahad Veva Ugoyim Sikeg Vakol Melahim Kevodek Vekova La Shem Kadash Ashem Piadonai Yikovenu Vechayi Ateret Tif Evet Piad Adonai Otzmecha B'chaf Elahayit Baruch Atadonai Eloheinu melech haolam Zorko ha'alamim Sa'adik v'kol hadoro V'el ha'ne'emat ha'avel v'yoshe Ha'medeve umkayeh Shekol devara Emeva sedek Al ha'torah Ve'al chavodah Ve'al hanavim Ve'um ha'shabbat Ha'zeh Shetata lanu Adonai Eloheinu Likdusha ulimucha Lakavol ultifarat On lakol Adonai Eloheinu Anaknu modim Umvachim Ota Itra Simha Afim kolcha Tmid le'olam va'ed Baruch atah Adonai
Baruch Shemo.
Mekadesh HaShabbat.
Amen. Zachary, you're just taken our breath away this morning. I want to invite your parents and your sisters to come up next to you again on the podium as we give them a chance to give you a hug on your incredible leading of this service and beautiful teaching of us. And I just want to say, sometimes things work out in a very wonderful way. And the fact that you are our first bar mitzvah after this pandemic in our sanctuary, the story of your father, the story of your mother, how their family's history and your being here and your sisters, it's in so many ways, for those that know that story, the story of the Jewish people and perseverance and love and commitment that your grandparents and your parents and yourself and your sister had to do to get to this day. As you talked about in your Devar Torah, sometimes life is challenging, it's not easy, and the text and you are encouraging us in this week's portion to find a way to choose life, to find a way to be positive, to try to embrace even the most difficult aspects of our lives so that we can go forward into blessing. And that is exactly what happened and what's happening right in front of our very eyes. Such blessing emanating from you and your beautiful family in our sanctuary. We could not be more proud of you, and we cannot be more happy for you. We're just kvelling around the world, kvelling on this very special Shabbat morning. And we'll invite all of us to rise and dance and sing a joyous round of Siman Tov and Mazel Tov in celebration of your accomplishment.
Siman Tov, Mazel Tov, Mazel Tov, Siman Tov, Siman Tov, Mazel Tov, Mazel Tov, Siman Tov, Siman Tov, Mazel Tov, Mazel Tov, Siman Tov, Yehelanu, 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 Olechol Yisrael, Yehelanu, Yehelanu, Olechol Yisrael.
Oh my gosh, you are just what we all needed. I love the dancing, and what a celebration today. We'll continue with our service. Zachary and your family can return to your seats with our concluding prayers, beginning with Aleinu.
Aleinu לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי הארצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגורלנו ככל המונה. ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא. ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ ביום ההוא. ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו אחד.
As we prepare to read Mourners Kaddish, our thoughts turn to those of our dear ones who are no longer with us in body, but are very much with us in spirit. I read the names of loved ones from this community who have died in the past 30 days. Jill Edelson, mother of David, Jeffrey, Andrew, and Joshua. Alvin Lefkowitz, father of Peter. Suzanne Liss, mother of Rebecca. Karen Levy Magid, wife of James and mother of Catherine, Marianne, and Jamie. Lawrence Scudder, father of Amanda and brother of Fred. Martha Cote, wife of Robert and mother of Jane and Diana. Jerry Rosenblum, husband of Paula, and father of Lauren and Emily, and Farah Sofer, mother of Joe, Alfred, Orly, and Dahlia. And we know there are others who are being remembered today. Those whose yard sites occur at this season are on our order of service, which is on our website. We know there are many people joining us today to say Kaddish for them, and others that you're saying Kaddish for. If you'd like to say the name of your loved one out loud at this time before we recite Kaddish, I'll invite you to do so now. On page 294, we find these sacred words of Mourners Kaddish. I'll add, as we recite them, that we're paying special attention to loved ones from your family, Zachary, who are no longer with us, and also members of the New York City community and the nation who died on September 11th, 19 years ago. Mourners Kaddish. Yitgadal v'yitgadash shemei rabbah, b'yalma divrach u'tei v'yamlich malchutei, b'chayachon u'v'yomechon u'chayedech Beit Yisrael, ba'agala u'zman kariv v'yimru, Amen. Yehei shmei rabbah mevarach le'olam umei almaya, yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh, v'yithadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shemei dekudsha brichu, Leila min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechemata, damiram b'yalma v'yimru, Amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shemaya, v'chaim alenu v'al kol Yisrael v'yimru, Amen. Osei shalom b'mromav, hu yasei shalom, alenu v'al kol Yisrael v'yimru, Amen.
V'yimeru Amen. V'yimeru Amen. V'yimeru Amen. V'yimeru
Zachary and your family, I will invite you up to the bima for the closing song on this final Shabbat morning of the Jewish year 5780. It's been a difficult year, but Zachary, you have given us hope that the future is bright in many, many more ways than just this service. And we thank you for that, and we thank God for the gift of this Shabbat together. Let's sing our closing song.
Oh, say shalom b'mroma, hu yaseh shalom aleinu, be'al kol Yisrael, be'al kol yoshvei tevel, v'imru, Oh, say shalom b'mroma, hu yaseh shalom aleinu, be'al kol Yisrael, be'al kol yoshvei tevel, v'imru. Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
Mazel tov.
And Mazel Tov.
source of strength, who bless the ones before us.
Help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen. Misheberach imorte
השכיבנו אדוני אלוהינו לשלום והעמידנו שומרנו לחיים השכיבנו אדוני אלוהינו לשלום והעמידנו שומרנו לחיים. Lay me down, God of peace, and raise me up to a world of living. Oh, safe from the storm, in the shelter of your shalom. Hashkivenu Adonai, Eloheinu leshalom, Hamidenu shomrenu l'chaim. If I could follow you and know all of your ways and wisdom, oh, you would keep me safe, and I'd always praise your name. Hashkivenu Adonai, Eloheinu leshalom, ve'hamidenu shomrenu l'chaim. Hashkivenu Adonai, Eloheinu leshalom, ve'hamidenu shomrenu l'chaim.
Hashkivenu Adonai, Eloheinu leshalom, lehamidenu malkeinu Hashkivenu Adonai, Eloheinu leshalom, lehamidenu malkeinu.
Hava Nashira, Shir Hallelujah, Shir Hallelujah. 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 Hava Nashira, Shir Hallelujah, Shir Hallelujah.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
And what an incredible morning. This is a bat mitzvah that we will all be remembering. It is this incredible confluence of one of our most ancient rituals with the miracles of technology that allow all of us to be here, whether we're in the sanctuary, like Vivian and her family and some of her friends, or downstairs below and waving up at you and seeing you, or if you're live streaming from somewhere else in New York City, somewhere else in the country, or maybe from around the world, which we have a global community gathered today for this Shabbat morning and also to celebrate this milestone in our community's life. Because Vivian, when you come up to be called to Torah, this is not just an important moment for you and your family, but really for all the Jewish people. It is something we do not take for granted, and it feels particularly miraculous today. So I invite all of you who are watching, if you would like, on our Facebook page, you can see that there's pinned the prayer book, or on our website, you can also follow along in the prayer book, or just join in the songs and take in this Shabbat morning just here through your screen. We want to make sure that that we know that there are people joining us from all over. I see here from Brazil and from Arizona and friends in many different places. And it's a particular gift that we are celebrating. Every child that comes to Bat Mitzvah is really special, but it is particularly wonderful that she's also a child of a rabbi of our community, Rabbi Nicole Auerbach, who is beloved and teaches so much Torah to all of us. We are really looking forward to the Torah that Vivian, that you will bring to us. So we'll begin together with a song of joy for the breath of life that is within us. Cantor Mutlu Elohai Neshama.
Elohai, Elohai, Neshama, Neshama, Shenatata bi, Shenatata bi, Tehorahi, Tehorahi, Elohai, 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 Neshama, Neshama, Shenatata bi, Shenatata bi, Tehorahi, Tehorahi, Elohai, 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 Neshama, Neshama, Shenatata bi, Shenatata bi, Tehorahi, 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 Tehorahi. We're going to continue now with our call to worship, Baruch Hu. You may rise, and we'll turn to page 108. Baruch Hu et Adonai HaMevorach, Baruch Adonai HaMevorach le'olam va'ed. Lai 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 lai
A reading from Revelation adapted from page 113. Once or twice in a lifetime, a young woman may choose a radical leaving, having heard, L'chilach, go forth. God disturbs us toward our destiny by hard events, and by freedom's now urgent voice, which explode and confirm who we are. We don't like leaving, but God loves becoming.
Baruch atah Adonai הבוחר בעמו ישראל באהבה. שמע ישראל, אדוני אלוהינו, אדוני אחד. ברוך שם כבוד מלכותו לעולם ועד. ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך. והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושיננתם לבניך, ודיברת בם, בשבתך בביתך, ובלכתך בדרך, ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם נאות על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם. We sing our Song of Freedom, Mi Chamocha, on page 122. Ya la 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 la. Ya la 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 la. Ya la 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 la. Ya la 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 ya la 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 la. Mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi chamocha neheda b'kodesh, Torah tehilot oseferet, Torah tehilot oseferet. Shira chadasha shivchu geulim, לשמחה שפתיים, יחד כל עבודו, והמליכו ויאמרו, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד.
You take a few moments now to pray through the tefillah, the Amidah. I invite us to join in the opening kavanah together, and then we will pray silently.
Adonai sefatai tiftach ufi agi tehilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו. עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו. עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו. יעשה שלום, יעשה שלום, שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל. יעשה שלום, יעשה שלום, שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל. עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו. עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו. עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו. יעשה שלום, יעשה שלום, שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל. יעשה שלום, יעשה שלום, שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל.
We now turn to our Torah service, and I see that our family is very well placed. This helps a lot to have a rabbi in the family, to know exactly where to be at the right time. You look terrific up on the bima there. And Vivian, I invite you to help begin our Torah service with your words of introduction.
The light of Torah shines forth from Zion. Adonai's teachings flow from Jerusalem. This scroll has nurtured our people from Sinai to today. It teaches us love, justice, hope, and peace.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad, Echad Eloheinu, Gadol Adonenu, Gadol Shemo, Gadlul Adonai iti, Oneromema Shemo Yachdav.
And now I invite your parents to pass this Torah. And when I say Torah, Torah is not just this physical scroll, which is in my hands and before you on that bima. Torah is the teaching of our people. It is the stories of our ancestors. And in a very real way, you have magnificent teachers of Torah in your own family. But really, all of your ancestors have helped pass down values that are a part of this moment today. So in a very real sense, as we pass Torah to you, your parents will pass a ritual object that will represent the teaching, the love, and the values of your family in this moment from one generation to another.
This Shabbat, we commemorate the yahrzeit of my mother. She died 15 years ago in September 2005. You may have heard her name called out at services last night, Vivian Auerbach. She lived a great life, my mother, lived long enough to meet 7 grandchildren. But of course, she did not live long enough to meet the girl who today became bat mitzvah, the girl who now carries that name, Vivian Auerbach. To me, it is a beautiful coincidence that we remember her on the same Shabbat that this Vivian Auerbach was called to the Torah. At my mother's funeral, I said that she was never happier than when she had gathered her family together. As often as possible, she would gather the entire extended family, plus friends and everyone else, and jam us into her dining room and feed us her chicken soup. But even without the excuse of a holiday or other celebration, On a regular Friday night, you'd find the five of us sitting in the dining room of the house on Allen Court with candles and a Kaddish cup and a covered challah. That Vivian Auerbach took Friday night dinner very seriously. In the Auerbach household, it was a ritual. We would cut the challah with this knife, the knife of my childhood, and this is the knife that your mother and I give to you today. A lot of memories in that little simple challah knife. For me, there is nothing that could symbolize Shabbat and family and love and belonging more than that knife. It represents the parts of my childhood that I know you particularly appreciate in your childhood. Family time, all of us getting together, often for Friday night dinner. We give the challah knife to you with a challah cover that we chose specifically for you as a symbol of traditions carrying from generation to generation. My father, Steve Auerbach, is watching on live stream now, and I know that he would love to be here today to hand over that challah knife to you by our side. But Dad, I'm here, and I'm handing it over to Vivian, and you can be sure it is in good hands with this Vivian Auerbach. She will carry it into the future. Vivian, your mother and I love you. We couldn't be more proud of you today.
Wow, what incredibly beautiful, touching words. Vivian, you have two rabbis, clearly, two teachers in your family. And I'll just say that on the Facebook page, friends wrote, "How are we supposed to not cry?" And someone wrote, "We don't." So we are crying tears of joy with you in that beautiful moment, and take pleasure in now you being called to Torah. So if you'll invite up your first Aliyah.
My Torah portion is taken from Parshat Nitzavim, from the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 30, verses 1 through 11. For my first Aliyah, I call upon my Aunt Lisa and Uncle Lee.
Maybe up there?
I think you got it on it.
That one, okay.
Do they need the blessing?
Baruch Adonai Hambarach Le'olam Va'ed.
Amen. V'haya ki yavou aleha kol hadavarim ha'eleh haberacha v'hakelala asher natati lefanecha v'hashevota el levavecha v'chol hagoyim asher hidichacha Adonai Elohecha shama v'shavta ad Adonai Elohecha v'shamata b'kolo kechol asher anochi mitzavecha hayom ata uvanecha b'chol levavecha u'b'chol nafshecha v'shav Adonai Elohecha et shivutecha v'richamecha v'shav v'kivetcha mikol ha'amim asher hefitcha Adonai Elohecha shama.
Amen.
For my second Aliyah, I call upon my parents and sister Catherine.
Baruch Hu et Adonai HaMevorach.
Baruch Adonai Hamvarach Leolam Va'ed.
Baruch Adonai HaMevorach Leolam Va'ed. Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim, v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch Atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen.
Amen. Im yehieni rachacha b'tzei hashamayim misham yikavatah Adonai Elohecha umisham yikachecha. V'heviacha Adonai Elohecha al haaretz asher yarshu avotecha v'rishta v'hetivcha v'hirbecha me'avotecha umo Adonai Elohecha et levavecha ve'et levav zarecha le'ahava et Adonai Elohecha b'chol vavecha u'b'chol nafshecha le'man hayecha.
Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher natan lanu Torat emet, v'chayei olam nata b'tochenu. Baruch Atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen. Vivian, I hope you could see me waving to you. Maybe you see me now. We've arrived at a really, really special moment where we get to call you up for the very first time as a bat mitzvah. This is your third and final Aliyah, and this is when you can actually say the blessing before reading Torah, and this is the blessing that you could not have said at any point earlier than right now. This is the time. You have arrived, and we call you up by your Hebrew name. We've already learned that you were named after Grandma Vivian, and there's also in your name Chaya, which means life and lively, and you certainly are, and Margalit, which means pearl. You're precious. You're a great friend to those around you. You're incredibly thoughtful and caring. And as I've gotten to know you these past several months, I've certainly found you to be caring and loving and thoughtful, and also filling us with so much hope for the future of the Jewish people. And so it's with great pride and honor that we call you up today for the very first time as a bat mitzvah. Tamo, 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 tabat mitzvah, Chaya Margalit bat Yehoshua umicha. Baruch Adonai Hamvorach leolam va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Hamvorach leolam va'ed. Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim, v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch Atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen.
V'natan Adonai Elohecha et kol ha'lo ha'eleh al oivecha ve'al sonecha asher v'rafucha. Ve'ata tashuv ve'shamata be'kol Adonai ve'asita et kol mitzvotav asher anochi mitzavecha hayom. Ve'hotircha Adonai Elohecha bechol maaseh yadecha. Be free v'necha, be free v'hemtecha, bechol vavecha, be free amatecha latova. Ki yashuv Adonai lasus alecha latov kasher sas alavotecha. Ki tishma bechol Adonai Elohecha lishmor mitzvotav v'hugotav haktuva b'sefer haTorah hazeh. Ki tashuv el Adonai Elohecha b'chol lavcha u'b'chol nafshecha. Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher natan lanu Torah emet, v'chayei olam nata b'tochenu. Baruch Atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen.
What beautiful chanting from the Torah. Thank you so much. Now we look forward to hearing your interpretation and your words of Torah.
Not
Always
before a
good
well-timed
to
drink.
nourish yourself first and get a sip of water.
In this week's Torah portion, Moses knows he is going to die soon, so he warns the Israelites that they must follow all of the mitzvot, or commandments, that God told them while wandering in the desert. Moses tells the Israelites that if they worship God, then God will bless them and love them back. But if they worship idols or other gods, then God will curse them by destroying their land and making it impossible for the Israelites to live there. However, Moses later explains that if they do the right thing by worshiping God and following the commandments, then God will bring them back to their land and bless them with fertile land and healthy children. Moses ends by saying, "I call heaven and earth to witness against you this day. I have put before you life and death, blessing and curse. Choose life if you and your offspring would live." When I first read this Torah portion, I thought that God's punishment seemed unrealistic and harsh. Becoming bat mitzvah means that you are obligated to follow the commandments, and reading that the punishment for messing up is that I will die is a lot of pressure on me. These punishments did not seem realistic because there are 613 commandments and people must break them all the time. I thought that there was no way this punishment could be real because I had never heard of anyone dying immediately after they made mistakes. However, when I looked closer at what Moses said, I realized that he never said any of these punishments were immediate. All the text said was that if the Israelites worshipped idols or other gods, then the land would become unlivable. By telling us not to worship idols, God is telling us not to worship man-made items. Today, we live in a society that is focused on the idea that we would be better off if we have more money or possessions instead of being grateful for what we already have. Every day on social media, I see hauls and advertisements for items that I don't have but look like they make other people happy. This results in me buying a lot more things than I need. People buying unnecessary items every day creates a lot of waste and pollution that harms the environment and contributes to climate change. Today, 1% of the world is barely livable, and because of climate change, that number could go up to 19% in the next 50 years. When that happens, millions of people and animals will be forced to migrate because the climate is too hot and crops cannot grow. The consequences will be far-reaching and impact everyone on the planet. When we realize the connection between buying unnecessary items and the destruction of the planet, the punishment Moses explains is not so unrealistic after all. If we continue to worship possessions and focus on buying more things, we will live to experience the punishment the Torah warns us about. Moses told the Israelites that they had to choose between life and death, a blessing or a curse, and urged them to choose life. I am no longer worried that if I make one bad decision, God will kill me individually, but we collectively have to make decisions that will bring us all to the blessing rather than the curse.
Wow, I just have to say that that was so powerful and amazing. You have such wisdom for us.
The Haftarah for this week is taken from the book of Isaiah. I will be reading from chapter and verses 63-49. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bahar b'nviim tovim v'ratza v'divrehem hanemarim be'emet. Baruch atah Adonai haboher b'Torah u'Moshe avdo u'Yisrael amo u'Vinvi'ei ha'emet b'tzedek.
Amen.
Ki yom nakam belibi ushnak gilai ba ve'ambi ve'ein ozer ve'eshtomim ve'ein somed ve'to shali zeroi ve'hamati hisimachatni ve'avus amim ve'api ve'ashakrim ve'hamati ve'ori la'aretz nitzcham hazdek Adonai azkir tehilo Adonai ke'al kol asher gemalanu Adonai ve'ravtuv levei Yisrael asher gemalam karachamav u'krol hasadav va'yomer achami hema banim lo yishakeru va'hi lahem lemoshiach ve'chol tzaratam lo tzar u'malach panav hoshiam ve'ahavato u'behemlato hu ge'alam va'inat lame va'inat same כל ימי עולם. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, zor kol haolamim, tzadik b'chol hadarot, ha'el hane'eman, ha'omer v'yoseh, hamdaber umkayim, shekol devarav emet v'tzedek, al haTorah ve'al ha'avodah ve'al hanevi'im ve'al yom haShabbat hazeh, shenatata lanu Adonai Eloheinu, liktusha v'limnucha, lechavod u'tifaret. Al hakol Adonai Eloheinu, anachnu modim lach, umbarchim otach, yitbarach shemcha befi kol hai, tamid le'olam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai,
Baruch hu Baruch Shemo.
mekadesh haShabbat.
Amen.
Family to join you. I'd like to ask your family to join you up on the bima for a moment. I wanted to share a few words because there were so many people who were enjoying that. Our own Rabbi Dan Ross saying brilliant teaching to you, Vivian. Paula Hunker saying so insightful and timely as California burns. Thank you, Vivian, for your wisdom. And Rabbi Mose Salt, a poignant and thoughtful Devar Torah. Thank you for inspiring me to keep our eyes on the prize, and so many others. You did an incredible, beautiful job. Can we see you up on the bima with your family as we celebrate together and wish you a mazel tov on this moment?
Siman tov, mazel tov, mazel tov, siman tov, siman tov, mazel tov, mazel tov, siman tov, siman tov, mazel tov, mazel tov, siman tov. Hey, hey, lanu, hey, hey, lanu, hey, lanu, oh, lechol Yisrael, hey, lanu, hey, lanu, oh, lechol Yisrael.
Now, in a very special moment, I'm going to invite your mother to take you up to the ark to bless you in this moment of bat mitzvah. I'll invite the rest of us to rise where we are as she opens that ark and offers a blessing on behalf of not only herself, but the Jewish community and God in this moment.
To a land that I will show you. Lech lecha, to a place you do not know. Lechi lach, on your journey I will bless you, and you shall be a blessing. You shall be a blessing. You shall be a blessing. Lechi lach. And we'll continue now with Aleinu L'Shabeach, page 282. Aleinu L'Shabeach L'Adon HaKol, לתת גדולה ליוצא בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי הארצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגורלנו ככל המונם, ואנחנו קוראים ומשחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא. ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד ושמו
We turn now to our moment of memory, which concludes every service as we call to mind those who came before us, who are maybe no longer walking this earth, but very much with us. We remember those from our synagogue community who have died in recent days. Jill Edelson, mother of David, Jeffrey, Andrew, and Joshua. Alvin Lefkowitz, father of Peter. Suzanne Liss, mother of Rebecca Liss Weisvogel. Karen Levy-Magid, wife of James, mother of Catherine, Marianne, and Jamie. Lawrence Scudder, father of Amanda, brother of Fred. Martha Koth, wife of Robert, mother of Jane and Diana. Jerry Rosenblum, husband of Paula, father of Lauren Goldman and Emily Baxter. Farah Sofer, mother of Joe, Alfred, Orly, and Dahlia. And of course, today this family marks the yard site of Vivian Auerbach, and I cannot imagine a more fitting way to honor her memory and her name than for her namesake to be called to Torah and to teach us so beautifully and lead us today. Perhaps you are mourning the loss of a loved one or remembering a yard site at this time. I invite you to either share that name out loud on our Facebook stream or perhaps just in the quiet of your heart and hold them. May their memories be a blessing. We join together in Kaddish Tome, the Mourners Kaddish, found on page 294. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah, v'alma divra chirutei v'yamlich malchutei, v'chaye echon u'v'yom echon u'v'chaye d'chol Beit Yisrael, ba'agala u'bizman kariv v'imru amen. Yehei shmei Rabbah mavarach leolam u'lalmei almaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh. V'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shmei d'kudusha brichu. Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata. Tushbechata v'nechamata. Ta'amiram v'alma v'imru amen. Yehei shlama Rabbah min shemaya. V'chayim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Oseh shalom bimromav, hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen.
V'imru amen. V'imru amen.
Vivian, thank you for being a pioneer. This is our first Shabbat of these B'nai Mitzvah where we're back in the sanctuary, but it's not back to normal. I also want to give a huge shout out to our incredible tech team. We had a few glitches today, but as a first tryout, you cannot imagine how complicated this is that we're downstairs and you're up there and we can see each other and we're all trying to put this out for all of the rest of the community to see. I want to thank Will, who's in the AV room, Milton, who's running this, and Jesse, who was the mastermind of it all. It is an incredible feat. And of course, our musicians who add so much to this service. It's been really incredible that we can celebrate this way, have you in our beautiful sanctuary. And I think the gift of modern technologies, we could see your mother's face and yours when you were blessed, which will be something that stays with me and brought me to tears. And I know many others as we were looking at the Facebook stream. So we celebrate with you. It's not only the most amazing way to celebrate Shabbat, but to set off our holiday season. Tonight we will begin Slichot. We hope that you will join us for Slichot learning tonight with our own cantor, Shani Ben Or, and our team leading Slichot services. And let's close out this service with more joy, which we've been feeling. I'll invite your family up to the bima if you'd like, and your guests to join and stand and celebrate with you as we close off with a joyful song of peace.
ליהודים היי טהורה, היי טהורה, בשמחה וששון ויקר. ליהודים היי טהורה, היי טהורה, בשמחה וששון.
Mazel tov to you, Vivian, and your family. Shabbat shalom to everyone, and wishing everyone a beautiful holiday season coming up. Shabbat shalom.
השכיבנו אדוני אלוהינו לשלום והעמידנו שומרנו לחיים. השכיבנו אדוני אלוהינו לשלום והעמידנו שומרנו לחיים. Raise me up to a world of living, oh, safe from the storm, in the shelter of your shalom. Hashkivenu Adonai, Eloheinu leshalom, ve'hamidenu shomreinu l'chaim. If I could follow and know all of your ways and wisdom, oh, you would keep me safe, and I'd always praise your name. Hashkivenu Adonai, Eloheinu leshalom, ve'hamidenu shomreinu l'chaim. Hashkivenu Adonai, Eloheinu leshalom, ve'hamidenu shomreinu l'chaim.
המצר קראתיה ענני ומרחביה מן המצר קראתיה ענני ומרחביה עודך כי אני תעני ותהי לי לישועה עודך כי אני תעני ותהי לי לישועה. ענני, 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 answer me. ענני, 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 answer me.
עוזי וזמרת ויהי לי לישועה. עוזי וזמרת ויהי לי לישועה.
Shabbat Shalom, everyone.
Shabbat Shalom.
It's so wonderful to be here this morning. This is a first for all of us, a Shabbat morning where we will be celebrating our first B'nai Mitzvah back in our sanctuary, but still in a state of pandemic quarantine. So we have our clergy. We are just below the sanctuary downstairs. We have a bar mitzvah, Lucas Steiner, who is going to be called to the Torah today with his family and some of his closest guests and friends. And then, of course, a much wider community watching on live stream of his friends and family and everyone else. You can wave. How you feeling, Lucas? Good. Excellent. It's so nice to see you. It is a beautiful, colorful bunch. And I just want to say that your parents, you are their third child, their youngest. And most of the time when parents have their third bar mitzvah, they say, oh, this is a piece of cake. I've done it before. But this way, yours gets to be unique and special and nothing like your brother or sisters. And so it will be one that we all remember to be a part of. And I particularly applaud you for your courage and resilience in doing this in this really unprecedented time. And know that it brings us all, your extended community, so much joy. For those of you who are watching from live stream and you'd like to follow along in our prayer book today, you can find that on our Facebook page. It's pinned, or on our website at centralsynagogue.org, and you can get a PDF of it, or just join along and sing and feel the Spirit, and you don't even need to use these words. Just use Lai 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 and join and take in this beautiful Shabbat. We will begin with a song to welcome in this day. Cantor Mutlu.
Song for our souls, Elohai Neshama. You can find it on page 78. Elohai Neshama shenatata bi tehurahi. 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 Elohai Neshama shenatata bi Now we turn to our call to worship, Baruch Hu, page 108, and we ask if you are able to please rise. Baruch Hu et Adonai HaMevorach. Baruch Adonai HaMevorach le'olam va'ed. Yai lai 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 lai. Yai lai 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 lai.
We continue with a reading that is adapted from a prayer in our prayer book on page 113. Once or twice in a lifetime, a young man may choose a radical leaving, having heard, Lech Lecha, go forth. God disturbs us toward our destiny by hard events and by freedom's now urgent voice, which explode and confirm who we are. We don't like leaving, but God loves becoming.
Baruch atah Adonai, habocher b'amo Yisrael, be'ahava. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai לעולם ועד. ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך. והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך. ושיננתם לבניך, ודיברת בם, בשבתך בביתך, ובלכתך בדרך, ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם לאות על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם. Continue now with our Song of Freedom, Micha Mocha, page 122. Ya la 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 la. Ya la 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 la. Ya la 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 la. Ya la 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 la. Micha mocha ba'eli Madonna, Micha mocha nehda b'kodesh, Torah tehilo tosefele, Torah tehilo tosefele. Shira chadasha shibchu geulim, לשמך שפת הים, יחד כל הפורו, והמליכו ויאמרו, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד.
At the heart of our tefillah is a prayer service in which we have our own personal conversation with God using either the words of this prayer book or the words in our heart. We will begin with the introduction together, but then we will continue with this section of prayer at our own pace silently. If you're following your prayer book, page 124.
Adonai sefatai tiftach ufi agi tehilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. Adonai Tzuri, Adonai Tzuri, Vegoali,
We now turn to our Torah service. I invite up Lucas and his family, his parents, to be on the bima as he helps lead us in being called to the Torah and reading from Torah today.
Should I go? Okay.
We'll begin with those opening words.
The light of Torah shines forth from Zion. Adonai's teachings flow from Jerusalem. This scroll has nurtured our people from Sinai to today. It teaches us love and justice, hope and peace.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad, Echad Eloheinu, Gadol Adonenu, Kadosh Shemo, Gadlul Adonai iti oneromema Shemo Yachdav.
And now, Lucas, your family, this is normally the moment where we do a Torah pass. Literally, we physically pass this Torah as a way of symbolizing the way that our ancestors have received Torah and passed it on to the next generation in all over time. We are not physically passing this Torah with your parents today, but they are passing on their love and their teachings, because Torah literally means teachings, to you through the passing on of a ritual object and a few words of gratitude and love and praise for you in this moment. So I'm going to invite your mom to share a few words and then to pass her Torah and your parents' Torah and those of her generations before them to you in this moment of bar mitzvah. So Victoria, if you want to share a few words, you should be able to do that now.
Okay, I wanted to thank everyone for coming today. It's a very special day, and like Rabbi Buchtel said, it's a very special day because we're in a pandemic and it's kind of hard to do what you want to do and to continue with life. But I want to talk about my son, Lucas. He was born on June 15th in 2007 in New York City to two immigrant parents. I, Lucas's mother, was born in Lvov, Russia, which is now Ukraine. My parents and I immigrated to the United States in 1978. We were sponsored by a Jewish organization called Nayana. They were very much instrumental in helping my family find jobs and secure housing. I was placed in a conservative Jewish yeshiva in Brooklyn at 6 years old. I had to learn both Hebrew and English simultaneously. My husband, Alfred, left with his family at Chernowitz, which was Russia, but now Ukraine, in 1973. They emigrated to Israel. Lucas's grandfather, Borya, bravely fought in the Yom Kippur War to ensure Israel's independence. They went through a migration process and ended up in the United States in 1978. Both our families struggled with new languages, new countries, employment, culture, and finally having the freedom of religion and family life. Both your father and I quickly realized that education is the key to success in our new country. We both pushed ourselves to be better educated. Your father was accepted into the Sophie Davis program at age 18, fast-tracked into university, medical school, then urology residency at Beth Israel Hospital in New York. I pushed myself into law school and graduated cum laude at 24 years old and worked in litigation. Our love story started when my grandmother Lydia had bladder stones and needed to see a urologist. I came to visit her in the hospital and met your father. We were married within 2 years, and I gave birth to Stephanie and Marcus, and I longed for a Jewish life for my family in New York City. We went to services in every synagogue in New York City. Finally, at Central Synagogue, I felt at home. They accepted us as a whole. The warmth that encompasses me when I'm here, it gives me strength to move forward in my life. Today, we're here to watch you, my son, Lucas Irving Steiner, become a bar mitzvah. Lucas, your Hebrew name is Aryeh. That means lion in Hebrew. We named you with a purpose. Ironically, there are many lions in my life. My husband's astrological sign is Leo. My dog's name is Leo. The city of my birth has a lion standing in front of it. My husband's first house had 2 lions at the front door. Your school's mascot is a lion. And if you meet Lucas, he's your lion. Being the youngest of 2 older siblings, you have to stand up for yourself. And Lucas sure does. He's always in front and leading. If not at school or at home or in the ice rink, he roars. He wants to be with you. He's very kind. He's empathetic. He's funny. He's athletic. And he's musical. Being his mom gives me great pride. During these 6 months of the unknown, it's hard for you to be with your friends in school and hockey and just being your carefree friend. I see you struggle with the new normal. My family historical struggle with World War II, Holocaust, being sent to Siberia and losing everything multiple times, immigration, then United States, and then starting over. Yes, we've been through a great deal, but there's a beautiful sanctuary, and we are here in Central Synagogue in front of God and enjoying this bar mitzvah. Yisrael Chai. Thank you to Central Synagogue, Rabbi Angela Buchdahl, Cantor Dan Matullo, and Kara Eckstein for pulling this together. My husband and myself and our parents and grandparents were not able to have bar mitzvahs because of life circumstances, but I'm grateful that Lucas is able to have one today. He studied in person and on Zoom with his amazing tutor, Emily. Thank you, Emily. I want to tell you that getting up to this beautiful podium has been a struggle, but that's what we do. We get up and we persevere. Lucas, our wish to you on this special day is to love yourself, to be kind, to help others, love God, and always roar with your lion's voice when you see injustice. I love you, and I'm very proud of you. Mazel tov.
Wow. That is so amazing. I have to say, Victoria, every time you've spoken, you bring me to tears, and today was no exception. Your own family's stories on both sides are experience of Jewish resilience and strength in these moments, and Lucas now embodies that and carries that, and by stepping on this bima during a global pandemic, he shows that he too has that Jewish spirit, and we are so proud of him and grateful to your family for taking this moment now. I can hear on Facebook so many people who have just found what powerful words they are, and not a dry eye. So now it is your moment, Lucas, to invite up those who are doing Aliyot for the Torah and for you to read.
Okay. My Torah portion is taken from the Parsha Behaloha from the book of Numbers, chapter 12, verses 1 to 10. For my first Aliyah, I call upon my mother, Victoria, my grandmother, Idichka, my grandfather, Sasha, and my brother, Marcus. So, Idichka and Sasha. So I'm pretty sure you guys have to read these 2 lines. All you guys. So, the first blessing before Torah, and the second blessing before Torah. Give me the blessing. Right here. Right here. No. It's right there. Just read it right there.
Baruch atah Adonai HaBarach.
Baruch Adonai HaBarach le'olam va'ed.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bachar banu b'nei mikol ha'amim v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten ha'Torah.
Amen.
Go, Marcus. No. You read this and that.
Lucas, you could start with the first.
Okay. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu et Torah emet v'chayei olam natan bituchenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen. Lucas, you could go ahead and start with the first Aliyah from the Torah.
Amen. Vatidaber Miriam ve'aharon b'Moshe al udot ha'isha hakushit asher laka ki isha hushit laka vayamru hara b'Moshe diber Adonai halo gambanu diber Vayishma Adonai v'haish Moshe einav me'od mikol ha'adam asher al panei ha'adama. Okay, where's the sheet? It's right here, okay.
Now you're going to call up your second Aliyah, right?
Call up your second Aliyah.
For my second Aliyah, I call upon my dad, Alfred, my grandpa, Vova, my grandmother, Natasha, and my sister, Stephanie. So, yeah. Stephanie, all you have to read, I don't know if they could speak Hebrew, but these two, okay? No. Pretty sure both of them.
Baruch et Adonai Hambarach.
Baruch Adonai Hambarach Leolam Va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Hambarach Leolam Va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bahar banu mikol hamim v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen. Now, Lucas, you can chant your second. No, Lucas, first you chant. So you chant your second one.
Okay. Wait, you want me to chant the second?
Second Aliyah.
Oh, sorry, second Aliyah, okay. Amen. Vayomer Adonai Pidom El Moshe Vel Aharon Ve'el Miriam Se'u Shalosh Tehem El Ohel Moed Vayitzu Shalosh Tam Vayered Adonai be'amud ana be'amod peta ha'ohel vayikra Aharon u'Miriam vayitzu shneihen vayomer shimuna devarai im yehiyeh nevi ahem Adonai b'mar'ah Elav et vada behelom adaber bo. Lohen avdi Moshe beho beiti ne'emanhu.
And now the blessing after.
And now I read.
Wait.
Well, first we want to get
your sister and family will do the blessing after.
Okay.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torah emet v'chayei olam natan betohenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen. You can give a hug to them, and as they walk off, you're doing a great job.
Do I also have to read the blessings?
In 1 minute.
Yep, we're gonna call you up in a very special way.
You're doing great. So I'll invite your family to sit down as you take in a blessing now before you're called for your third Aliyah, where you're going to do the blessing. But first, Cantor Mutlu wants to share a few words with you.
Okay, so you can see me on the screen, right, Lucas? Waving to you. So you're doing an amazing job, and you're definitely living up to your name of a lion, because you are taking this situation into your hands, and you're taking command of it, which is really filling us with a lot of pride right now. And we are at this moment where we call you for the very first time to the Torah. And as we heard, your great-grandma Lydia is the reason why you are here, the reason why you are alive and why you have this Torah in front of you. And it's no coincidence then that you are named after her, Lucas. And so by calling you up by your Hebrew name, we're linking you in this chain that stretches all the way back to her, and then back even further all the way to Sinai when the Torah was first given. So we're going to connect you in this long chain through this very special moment and this very special blessing right now. So we call you up for the very first time as a bar mitzvah to the Torah.
And now
Yamod, 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 ha-bar mitzvah, Aryeh ben Malka ve'Alfred. And now you can do the Aliyah.
Okay.
First, you want to do the blessing. The blessing.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay,
This is the big moment. Is the blessing.
Baruch et Adonai Hamivorah.
Baruch Adonai Hamarach Leolam Va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Hamivorach Leolam Va'ed. Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bahar banu mikol ha'amim v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch Atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen.
Okay. Peh el peh adaber bo umar velo vehidot utmunat Adonai yabit umadua lo yeretem ladaber be'avdi be'moshe vayehar Adonai bam vayelam ve'anan sar me'al ha'ohel ve'hine Miriam mitzora'at kasheleg vayifen Aharon El Miriam Vehine Mitzora'at. Okay. Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torat emet v'haye olam natan b'tohenu. Baruch Atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen. Lucas, one moment. I just want to say that was incredible. Take a deep breath because you were amazing. Your voice is incredible. Oh, we're hearing a lot of cheers up there. That's wonderful. I love it.
Sounds like hundreds of people.
Yeah, it does. That was beautiful. But I want to say, just for a moment, for all of you who are watching Lucas and witnessing this, I want you to think for a moment what it's like to be a bar mitzvah on a normal day where you're reading from Torah and you're a little nervous about it. But now imagine that you've taken the rabbi and cantor away and they're not anywhere near the Torah and you have to manage this all by yourself. And you did such an incredible job. Not only did you manage it all for yourself, you were managing it for your parents and for everyone else and making sure that it was all happening. I think that is incredible leadership that you showed us today and incredible fortitude. And we are bursting with pride at how you have handled yourself in this incredibly miraculous moment. So thank you for sharing that. You've done the hardest part, and now I invite you to share some of your interpretation of Torah. As you might have heard, Lucas was born in June, and originally his bar mitzvah is going to be last spring, but because of the pandemic, we moved it to now. So we're going to get to hear some word of Torah from a parsha in Numbers, and Lucas has a particularly wonderful take on it. So share your words of Torah with us now.
The Torah portion I'm chanting tells the story of Miriam and Aaron speaking poorly about Moses. As Moses' older siblings, Miriam and Aaron are upset because Moses married a woman from the Cushite tribe. God becomes furious at both Miriam and Aaron for bad-mouthing Moses. However, he only punishes Miriam with snow white scales, a type of skin disease. The portion of the Torah can be analyzed through a contemporary lens that is reminiscent of modern-day discrimination women face simply because of their gender. Instead of equally punishing Aaron as a joint perpetrator in the immoral act, God only punishes Miriam, an awful double standard. This double standard is one that women face too often and could be related to the continued inequalities women face in our present day. In the United States today, females make a mere 82% of what men do, according to Pew Research Center. To equalize this inequality, women would have to work 47 extra days in a year, an absurdly unfair statistic on top of the additional responsibilities women have as being both a primal caretaker and a breadwinner. Globally in 2017, the World Economic Forum recorded an even larger gap in wages between men and women, with women only making 60% what men make. When it comes to the distribution of positions of power, only 20% of women hold seats in the U.S. Congress, which is a massive disparity. Additionally, according to the Washington Post, for every woman holding a political office in the United States, there are 3 men. America has also yet to elect a president who isn't a man, far behind Western nations that have had women in executive positions of power for decades. This topic hits home to me because I also happen to have very important women in my life who are unfortunately subjected to gender disparities that exist in modern-day society. My mom has a high-powered job, and regardless of her ability and talent, she's judged by a set of pre-constructed societal norms and consumptions simply because of her gender. The other important woman to me is my sister, although she has everything going for her, she's smart, driven, and a wonderful person, I know that she will be judged and constrained by society's standards, and therefore, I know that she will have to maneuver those and break some glass ceilings. My Torah portion has taught me that double standards for women have endured for centuries. Ridiculous, I know. You would think that some underlying biases would change since Talmudic times, but here we are today. Women are consistently paid less than men for equal work. They are bared and are given unequal opportunities to enter into positions of power politically and otherwise, on top of the endless inequalities that I do not have time to go into. It's time for a real systematic change, and if I, as a 13-year-old boy, can recognize that, we all should too.
I want to thank you for those incredible words delivered so beautifully. I already loved you, Lucas, but we love you even more for this wisdom and for really being a champion for women. And you do have 2 of the strongest women right in your own family, as I know. But we are grateful for you speaking out for all of us. We invite you to turn to your Haftarah.
Okay. Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher behar b'nvi'im tovim v'ratza v'divreihem ha'ne'emarim be'emet Baruch Atah Adonai Haboher Batorah Uv Moshe Avdo Uv Yisrael Amo Umvivie Ha'amet V'tzedek.
Amen.
Okay, so now my Haftarah. Roni Vesimchi Bat Zion Ki hineni va Veshachanti betohe Ne'um Adonai Benilvu Goyim Rabim El Adonai Bayom Ahu Vehayu Li Le'am Veshachanti Betohe Vayadat Ki Adonai Sevaot Shalahani Elai V'nahal Adonai et Yehuda Helko al Admat Helkodesh Uvahar Od B'Yerushalayim Has Kol Basar Mipenei Adonai Ki Neor mimeon kocho.
Unbelievable. That was so great, Lucas. You have now done everything you need to do to become bar mitzvah. Not just to become it, you already are, but to mark this amazing celebration. I have to tell you, a few congratulations coming from around the world. Cantor Zoe Jacobs from London is watching, and she said, "What beautiful chanting, Lucas, Mazel Tov." So you have someone watching you all the way from across the world. Marcy says, "So many smart, wise, and perceptive young guns. Go forth and conquer." Our own Rabbi Mo Salth said, "Way to stand up for our sisters and mothers, Lucas. Thank you." And Jill says, "So impressive, Mazel Tov. Beautiful voice, and I loved your words on equality."
Thank you.
So we are celebrating with you. I'm going to invite your family to come up on the bima with you as we mark this moment of you becoming bar mitzvah.
Or just our family?
Your immediate family. Come on up on the bima with you, Lucas, so we can celebrate with you. And I'll invite everyone else to rise and join in this celebration of your becoming bar mitzvah. Siman tov, mazel tov, mazel tov, siman tov, siman tov, mazel tov, mazel tov, siman tov, mazel tov, mazel tov, siman tov, hey hey lanu, hey hey lanu, hey lanu, ulechol Yisrael, hey hey lanu, hey lanu, ulechol Yisrael. Beautiful. I invite you to go back to your seats with your family. We will continue with our prayer service with the Aleinu, page 282.
עלינו לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי הארצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, בגורלנו ככל המונם. ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא. ונאמר בהיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ ביום ההוא. ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו אחד.
This time we turn to thoughts of loved ones who are no longer walking this earth, but who are very much a part of our lives, and these moments of memory. We call to mind those whom death has taken recently from our own Central Synagogue community: Jill Edelson, mother of David, Jeffrey, Andrew, and Joshua; Alvin Lefkowitz, father of Peter; Suzanne Liss, mother of Rebecca Liss Weisvogel; Karen Levy Magid, wife of James, mother of Catherine, Marianne, and Jamie; Lawrence Scudder, father of Amanda, brother of Fred; Martha Koth, wife of Robert and mother of Jane and Diana; Jerry Rosenblum, husband of Paula, father of Lauren Goldman and Emily Baxter; and Farah Sofer, mother of Joe, Alfred, Orly, and Dahlia. And perhaps you are mourning a loved one or commemorating a yahrzeit, the anniversary of their death at this time. I invite you to say their name out loud, or to put it on our Facebook stream, or perhaps just offer it in the quiet of your own heart as we honor their memories with Kaddish Tome on page 294. Yitkadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah, Ve'alma divra chirute ve'amlich malchute. B'chayechon u'v'yomechon u'v'chaye dechol Beit Yisrael. Ba'agala u'bizman kariv v'imru amen. Yehi shmei rabba mevarach le'olam u'lalmei almaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh. V'yithadar v'yit'aleh v'yithalal shmei dekudesha b'richu. Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata. Tushbechata v'nechamata. Ta'amiran v'alma v'imru amen. Yehi shlama rabba min shemaya. V'chayim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. V'imru amen. Oseh shalom bimrumav. Hu yaseh shalom. Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. V'imru amen.
Ve'imru amen. Ve'imru amen. Ve'imru amen. Ve'imru
How should we close out this beautiful morning, Cantor?
I think we should close out with a song of peace. We'll sing together Oseh Shalom, and it's been a wonderful morning together.
We'll invite all of you in the sanctuary to rise with us as we close out this beautiful Shabbat morning.
Oseh Shalom Bibroma, Hu Yaseh Shalom Aleinu, Ve'al Kol Yisrael, Ve'al Kol Yoshvei Tevel, Ve'imru Oseh Shalom Bibroma, Hu Yaseh Shalom Aleinu, Ve'al Kol Yisrael, Ve'al Kol Yoshvei Tevel, Ve'imru
Shabbat Shalom, everyone. Thank you so much. Mazel Tov to Lucas and his family, to our community, and we say a Happy New Year to all of you. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.